5 points. Next issue is the production. Number of methods are present already. They have been identified. The choice of method depends on various factors. How much quantity you want. If it is a small quantity, you can go for electrolyzer. You want a huge amount of quantity, you have to go for the among the various methods. There are 5 best methods listed based on the quantity required, what purity we need, availability and cost of raw materials. We can decide. Okay, the electrolytic method, steam reforming, oxidation method, gasification, and dissociation of ammonia. These are the different methods. Out of this, we discuss only one method, that is electrolyzer for the production of hydrogen. Okay, it's a simple sketch. Please make down, take down fast. Electrolysis or electrolytic production of hydrogen. Okay, so coming to the construction, it consists of 2 electrodes. Okay, one is the anode, called as the positive terminal, and other is the cathode, which is a negative terminal. Okay, so electric current is passed to the positive terminal. The positive end is connected to the positive and negative to the negative. A fluid called as electrolyzer is filled here, electrolytic solution, which consists of water plus a solution, right? So majorly the construction part, it consists of 2 electrodes which are immersed in an aqueous solution called as an electrolyte. Okay. A source of direct current DC is connected to the electrodes. Okay. Now as a result, the water is electrolytic solution here. It is decomposed into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is produced at the negative terminal, whereas oxygen is produced at the positive terminal. Okay. So as I told you, the cathode oxygen is produced at the anode, and at the cathode hydrogen is produced. Although only water is split. Okay, there is an electrolyzer. Next question comes is, why don't we fill only water here? Why an electrolytic solution also? Because water is not a very good conductor of electricity. So to conduct the electricity and proceed the reaction, good conductor material is used. Okay, here 3 major factors are there. Okay, that has to be considered. One is the energy efficiency, capital cost, and lifetime of the cell. Okay, these 3 are the factors that has to be optimized to make this model popular, right? So this is regarding the electrolysis. Just there will be 2 electrodes. Okay. Negative terminal, that is cathode, is connected to negative terminal of direct current, and positive is connected to the positive terminal of direct current. The electrolytic solution is filled in the tank. When the current is passed at the cathode, hydrogen is produced, and at the anode, oxygen is produced. So 3 parameters, as I told you, we have to consider. One is the energy efficiency. Okay. Second is the capital cost, and third is the lifetime of cell. See, every now and then, if the anode and cathode are getting exhausted, okay, the maintenance cost will be more. So these 3 are the concerns with respect to this method. Okay. So usually 2 types of electrode arrangement are used in industry. See, industrial hydrogen production, this is one of the method which is popularly used. 2 types of electrolysis of water that is used. One is a tank type electrolyzer, and second is the filter press or bipolar electrolyzer. So first one is the tank type. See, in the earlier sketch, we have discussed only the principle of operation. Okay, so here we discussed in detail about the actual production method. Please take down the sketch, make it fast. Who is Rachana? Rachana. Okay, so tank type electrolyzer. Right. Now, so this shows the tank type electrolyzer, which is popularly used in industries. So this is the actually a tank structure wherein alternate anodes and cathodes are placed one after the other. Okay, there is a porous diaphragm which separates each anode and cathode. The special property of this diaphragm is it will allow the electrolyte to pass through it. Okay, but it will not allow the produced gas to pass through it. So that what happens, as we discussed, at the positive terminals oxygen is produced and at the negative terminals hydrogen is produced. So what all negative terminals are connected to one pipeline, so that whatever hydrogen is produced will be collected and stored in a tank. All positive terminals are connected to the separate pipeline wherein oxygen can be separated and stored. If these diaphragms are there not there, what happens, again they may associate together, oxygen and hydrogen. So they may. So what happens, so in order to avoid that, this diaphragm is placed. So this diaphragm allows the liquid to flow through it and it will not allow the gas to flow through it. So this mechanism is called as tank type electrolyzer. So here usually a potassium hydroxide solution is used as a electrolyte. Okay, as I told you, some electrolyte which is a good conductor is definitely required, right? Is required for the why? Because it is a good water is not a good conductor. So along with potassium hydroxide, water is mixed and a solution is formed. It will be an electrolyte. This will be loaded to the tank. As you can see, all positive terminals are connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Okay, so that direct current is passed. All negative are connected to the negative terminal. In the negative terminal, you will get the hydrogen gas, whereas in the positive terminal, you will get the oxygen gas. This is regarding tank type electrolyzer, right? Next, the second type is bipolar electrolyzer or filter press electrolyzer. Please take down the sketch. There is a small difference here. That's all in the construction, whereas principle of operation remains the same. Please make a note. Tilak. Mr. Tilak. You are attempting to join to the class now. I have allowed you. Please, you can unmute and talk. You went out. Okay. See, as I told you, here the principle of operation is same, but the construction is different. Here, except at the ends, you can see at the end we have a separate cathode and anode. Okay. In between, a common structure is there, okay, wherein one phase acts as a anode and the other phase acts as a cathode. A single rod, on one end it acts as a anode, the other end acts as a cathode. Such structures are selected. Hence, it is called as bipolar electrolyzer. The name itself will represent. As usual, we have a porous diaphragm which allows the liquid, that is electrolyte, to flow through it, but the gas will not be allowed to flow through it. Such a diaphragm is there. Otherwise, working, everything remains the same. Right? There is no change in any working. So this will not allow the gas to flow. All positive terminals are connected to a single pipeline. Negative terminals are connected to a single pipeline, so that the hydrogen and oxygen can be separated. The only structural difference is we use a bipolar electrodes except at the ends. At the end, we have a separate electrode, wherein in middle regions we have a common one electrode. On one end it acts as negative, on the other end it acts as positive. Okay. So this is called as filter press or bipolar electrolyzer. Okay. So the same thing I have discussed there. So we have discussed about the production methods. Usually the electrolysis, the principle of electrolysis we have discussed, and two most popularly used industrial electrolyzers we have discussed. The next is the storage of hydrogen. Okay. The most common method to store the hydrogen is in gaseous form. In steel tanks, we can store it. Okay. So these days, lightweight composite material based tanks are also coming into picture. Okay. Or also the other method is to store it to near cryogenic temperatures. Cryogenic temperatures are negative temperatures like -250 or -300 degrees centigrade. If you cool it to that temperature, hydrogen gas gets converted to liquid at such a temperature. So that liquid hydrogen, we call it as LH2. Liquid hydrogen can be stored and it can be transported. The advantage is its density will be very high, so that in a small tank you can carry huge quantity. Yeah. So there are three major techniques used for hydrogen storage. One is, most popularly, composite tanks are used, so that the cost of the tank is less, as well as the lightweight, it will be of lightweight. Second is cryogenic liquid hydrogen storage, that is cooling it to a temperature of around -250 degrees centigrade, so that it gets converted to a liquid. Liquid hydrogen can be shifted. And third is by using the metal hydride method. So we have to discuss these three techniques one after the other. Okay. So first we start with composite tank. Just take down a rough sketch. Okay. So there will be an inner carbon fiber shell will be there. It is a very strong. It will shell. It will not allow the gas to leak, right? So that the lightweight nature also helps in easy shifting. Okay. And above that, at the corners, there will be external protective shell. You can see here, this is a carbon fiber reinforced shell. So this shell has a protecting of external protecting very strong material, so that the edges, if they are hit, it should not get damaged. And inside there will be a polymer material lining given. Okay. So if there are any cracks, okay, over a period of time in this carbon fiber material, this polymer method will allow the, will stop the growth of that crack, and it will avoid the leakage of the gas. Okay. So here you can use either a manual valve. Usually electronic valves will be used for discharging or loading or unloading. Okay. So they are called as composite material tank. Either stainless steel tanks can also be used, but the cost will be very much higher, and the weight of the tank will also be very much higher. That will be a major issue. Okay. These standard size tanks are available in the worldwide with specific codes for pressure. Okay. It has to withstand a pressure of 350 to 700 bar. So this is the first method as a storage. Any sort of energy we plan, the first question is how do we store it? Okay, from the electrolyze, when the hydrogen comes out, you cannot directly connect it to an engine, correct? You have to store, transport it to the site where it is used, and then only you have to use. Okay, so this is the first method of storage. Second is the cryogenic liquid hydrogen, that is LH2 we call it as. Okay, so usually it is referred to as LH2. It has a density of 70.8 kgs per every meter cube. As I told you, very high dense, so that in a small volume, okay, say in 1 meter cube volume, you can carry 70 kgs of hydrogen. Okay, so normal boiling point of hydrogen we saw earlier minus 253. So if you cool the hydrogen gas to minus 240 degrees centigrade, it gets converted to a liquid. Okay, so hydrogen liquid requires cryogenic storage. Okay, and it boils at minus 252. So by cooling it to that temperature, liquefaction can be done without. Okay, the major problem with this liquefaction is, in order to cool to such a lower temperature, you have to use a lot of energy. Just imagine minus 250 degrees centigrade you have to achieve. Okay. Achieving any cryogenic temperatures requires a lot of electricity or energy, right? About 30 to 40% of the energy content in the hydrogen. Say for example, by burning 1 kg of hydrogen, you will get approximately 28 kilocalories of energy. In that 30 to 40% of the energy you have to use to cool that hydrogen. That is a problem. Otherwise, it is a source of, it is a good mode. See, the main advantage with this LH2, that is liquid hydrogen, is high storage density. As I told you, in a small volume, you can store more amount of fuel. Okay, so liquid hydrogen has been demonstrated in commercial vehicles by BMW already. It has been demonstrated. It is under road testing. Okay, and the future it could be also co-utilized as an aircraft fuel. If you ask why, because density is very high. In a small volume, you can store more fuel. First thing. Second thing, okay, you need to carry 1/3 of the fuel. Instead of 100 liters, you can carry only 35 liters for traveling for the same distance. So that will be the advantage. The only disadvantage here is 30 to 40% of the energy content should be used for converting into cryogenic temperatures, or you have to spend good amount of money in converting it into liquid. That will be the only problem. So this is the second method of storage of hydrogen. The third method is by metal hydrates. Okay, so the chemically bound hydrogen storage material is metal hydride. Okay, so when metals alloys come in contact with this hydrogen, they form a hydride. They absorb the hydrogen and they form a hydride. Okay, the regeneration of metal can be accomplished either by increasing the temperature or reducing the pressure. See, certain metals and metals are there. When they come in contact with hydrogen, they form hydrides. They form metal hydride. You can see here, they form a metal hydride. So by whenever you place this metal in hydrogen atmosphere, the hydrogen will be completely absorbed by this metal, and whenever you heat this metal, it will release back the hydrogen, or you have to reduce the pressure so that under low pressures it will release back the hydrogen. So this is the reversible reaction. Okay, so this is metal hydride storage. Maybe it is suitable only for small quantities, very small quantities if you want to shift them. But for fuel purpose, we have to either go with LH2 technique, that is cryogenic hydrogen, or we have to go with composite tanks.